Why microsemantics is important for AI, SEO, and LLM visibility. So with regards to microsemantics, that's been probably the biggest learning curve for me with the whole semantic SEO training and development, the RDF triples or the semantic triples, just the sentence structure, trying to be as concise as possible, removing the fluff.
Do you think that's because we're from the north and we're not really taught how to put a sentence together?
Basically, yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think linguistics-wise, we say certain things that's like, all right, pal. It doesn't kind of work very well from a linguistic point of view. I think a lot of the time,
been learning English.
Corey, I go, yeah, Tuggy, and everyone's name who I introduce, Karl Hudson is not too bad, but when you've got certain names. Yeah. I pronounce them.
I usually say, look, I'm going to butcher it. You tell me and we'll go with that one.
But with regards to microsemantics, specifically, let's say for SEO and for LLMs, so you've got Claude, you've got ChatGPT, you've got Gemini. Everyone now is obsessed with all the different acronyms, whether it's LLM, SEO, AEO, GEO, whatever they want to call it. Yeah. Why is microsemantics very important? And I believe it's something that's actually not talked about enough. That sentence structure, making certain that each word is connecting an entity to an entity, an entity to an attribute. Why is microsemantics important for LLM visibility?
It's basically an LLM or a machine learning model it only works in black and white. It doesn't really understand the gray area. And that's the whole point of the sentence structure side when it comes to like subject, predicate, object, or RDF triples, because obviously there is a few other types of them. That's where it eliminates that grayness. So it's literally, James is 26-year-old.
Well, that's not actually very good, is it?
It's false.
No, yeah. No, but I'm saying James, you don't want to be putting James. It should be James Dooley.
James Dooley is.
So the actual full entity name. Give an example of where someone might be doing that wrong. So James is actually wrong, but what other example would it be where they might use it where it's an I or stuff like that? Explain why saying I or he or whatever is incorrect and how the way the LLMs are passing information, they don't know what that means.
Yeah, so essentially if you imagine, let's say it's your own website and it's the about page, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people go, we are a plastering company. We have been around since 1994. Who the hell's we? LLM, yes, it's landed on your web page, so it understands that this domain is about something, but then it says it's about this we character. So then it doesn't fully understand. And then you mention plastering. So saying, right, well, there's a plastering entity here, but what's that got to do with 1999? Because you're saying we. So it's all about connecting those dots. So if it was James's plastering services, James's plastering service was established in 1999. James's plastering service is a 2-man team. James's plastering service is owned by James Dooley. That's how you would be doing it. The weird thing is it looks a little bit spammy. Yeah. Like from your old mentality of like SEO, you think you're just keyword stuffing. But the reality is you're not, as long as you're defining attributes and like defining the attributes and entities more.
Yeah, it's like what you need to do is you need to remove the entity out as being, you can't keyword stuff the entity name. No. So the entity name needs to be in there as much as possible. And some people say, oh, but Google or Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude, they understand that the about page on that website is about that entity. Well, they can do. But the issue is now the cost of information retrieval is going up because now they've got to try and work out who is we. And if they're doing any sort of grounding and chunking and they want to try and take out a piece of information, if you're going to take that paragraph or sentence out and put it into a Google snippet, or you put it into an LLM answer, we do this, this, and this, doesn't make any sense anymore. So therefore, the semantic triple and defining the entity within the RDF triple becomes very important.
It's also going to probably, if you did that, that's probably a bang-on example. If you did that, we do X, Y, and Z, and you put that in probably in a quote, you're probably going to bring up another 4 billion websites that also say we do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So again, it's ambiguity.
Yeah.
Who is we? And you've just said you have 4 million websites.
That's a great word, the ambiguity and the uncertainty from the LLMs that they're not certain. How important is disambiguation and trying to make certain that the confidence and the clarity of your content is there? Because if they're not confident and there's not clarity, they're just not going to cite you. No. How important is the disambiguation and making certain? How many times have we gone in and strengthened a KGMID score and a knowledge graph just by replacing I and we with the entity name? It's scary and then how many people doing this on third-party websites saying, we did this, this, and this, we won this award. And it's just like, you're not doing the nodes and the edges. Don't, like, within the way the semantic graph works, you have to define the entity and connect it to the objects, the attributes, and everything else with nodes and edges. So the easiest way of explaining it, if anyone doesn't understand what I mean by nodes and edges, is if you go and type in like knowledge graph visualization, you'll see a load of dots and a load of lines. And the lines are the edges, the dots are the nodes, i.e. the entities that are connecting things together. And if it's not done in the triplets, i.e. the semantic triples, there isn't two connections in the line being done. And at that point, you're not feeding the knowledge graph, which then means you're not feeding the knowledge vault, which then means you're not feeding the training data, which then means the LLM visibility is nowhere near as good, whether it's Claude, whether it's ChatGPT, or whether it's Gemini. So it's crazy when people start looking at word level and sentence level.
But it can also just be like one word knocks it off. Like we've seen it like 50 points. Like one word it can destroy the entire page, that one word, because it's created that ambiguity when it wasn't needed. And you've thought, I'll just quickly go and update this page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you think you're doing well because you're getting some Google freshness.
So I've got one last question for you, because we chat and we joke about this quite a lot. And with regards to when someone's looking to do backlinks, or they're looking to do an off-page topical map, and they're looking to do third-party corroboration, branded mentions now is brilliant for LLM visibility, right? And a lot of the time now, people are saying you don't even need the backlinks that much anymore. Now, there's still a page rank algorithm. You still want a bit of link juice to increase the crawl budget. But how important is the microsemantics on backlinks, on press releases, on guest posts, and getting that microsemantics right on the off page, just as much as the on page, getting that microsemantics right, which is almost forming the connections that now the links are not needed because of the branded connections?
I would say for people who know us, this is going to be quite a big statement. So I would say it's probably more important than building the actual anchor text link itself. Now, this is specifically within the realms of LLM optimization.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it comes to trying to rank higher on Google, I would still argue, yes, it's very important and will help, but you still need that link.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the LLM optimization and utilizing the microsemantics and semantic SEO, it is like fundamental. If you're structuring that page wrong, you're basically just adding, you're building the ambiguity. You're building the ambiguity.
Yeah. At times, I've seen people building links and it's weakened their knowledge graph score, because now it starts to raise. We had one where one of my members of staff wrote an article about FatRank, and it started doing connections, and it then started to think that I wasn't the founder and connected it to somebody else, because the way the sentence structure was put together, I was mentioned in the sentence, but it looked like one of the members of staff was the founder. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, it's not, like, I'm the founder. The sentence structure that's being done isn't done in the correct manner. That should have been broken down into two sentences. You've thrown them both in together, and the way that they've parsed that with natural language processing, it's had a detrimental effect and raised this ambiguity.
We actually found that on niche edit. Obviously, I'm not really a huge advocate of niche edits anyway. I think, why do niche edit when you have a guest post? But we actually found that in niche edit, we built a link and it changed because it was a niche edit in like a related post, you think it's good. It actually changed who I thought the founder of our business was.
Yeah.
Which was like crazy. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, well, why is it saying that? And then you'd find the link and it's like, that's the one. And then you delete that out and it came back.
Yeah.
Got rid of the ambiguity in it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's like, I would say it's super important. And obviously, considering I enjoy building links, it's a crazy world now that, you know, it's almost like a mention is as powerful as a link.
For LLM visibility. Yeah. I still love the backlink when it comes down to Google rankings and page rank distribution. But yeah, like for me, microsemantics is almost like the anchor text of backlinks. Yeah. It is key in making certain those branded mentions are done in a microsemantic way to make certain that it's feeding the LLMs, whether that's Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini. There's many others as well. Could be Grok and other places. But getting those microsemantics for LLM visibility is key. Karl, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, mate.